Hello everyone, welcome back to another series of podcasts. This is Chandan Palwar from Junction. I welcome you all to gonna be insightful marketing and overall brand management focused podcast or a one-on-one conversation with an eminent personality with us and an industry expert who have unturned every possible marketing challenge into strategically innovative solutions. So let's have him on board with us. Let's welcome Mr. Chetan Dubey. Hi sir, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, Chandan. Thank you very much. How are you?
I am also doing good. So luckily, maybe luckily or not, unluckily, so we get to have a chance to meet you, though virtually. But yes, so I think this is also one of the efficient way to have a conversation on,
Sure.
right?
Indeed, indeed.
Right. So, Chetan, let's begin with this conversation, and I'm sure that this conversation will be so impactful to the students and so insightful for them to climb their career ladder. So, yeah, considering the fact that you are brand manager, you have worked in various companies like Himalaya and also Expire. So, what exactly we would love to hear about you. So, can you please introduce yourself to our audience, lovely audience?
Sure. First and foremost, thank you very much, Chandan, for giving me this opportunity to have this conversation with you. Truly means a lot. I hope you're doing well in the best of health, especially in wake of the current situation. Right. So, as far as my journey is concerned, I am someone who's a passionate marketer. Right, marketing really excites me, and the reason why it excites me is because I love to interact with people, understand problem statements, and eventually convert those problem statements into relevant offerings. That is exactly what I've learned over the course of last 7 years.
All right.
Considering my stint at Himalaya, so at Himalaya I was handling or leading two categories, which were their winter care portfolio and oral care portfolio. Total portfolio is worth roughly around 250 to 3 crores. Within winter care, you have Himalaya body lotion, moisturizing cream, and lip balm. And within oral care, you have toothpaste and mouthwash. Fantastic journey at Himalaya, considering the space which they operate in. One of the best organizations to work with as far as the OTC category or personal care category is concerned. Prior to that, I spent roughly around 3.5 to 4 years with Parley Products as brand manager, handling their flagship brand within Parle Platina, which is Hide and Seek. A name which is synonymous to each one of us, and we've grown up consuming Hide and Seek. Therefore, the brand is still really very close to me. So I was managing Hide and Seek within the premium chocolate chip cookies category and Parle Kacha Mango White within the confectionery category. And I started my journey with Macintosh Consumer Products, right? And initially had a sales stint, and from there I moved into marketing. That was the breeding ground for me to understand marketing and sales in the best possible manner, right? So this is how my journey has been. I have had the opportunity to handle brands both in personal care and food categories. They really differ from each other from the point of view of consumer insights, from the point of view of consumer behavior, right? And other than teaching, I'm also a consultant and visiting faculty. I teach marketing across these schools because I love interacting with students and friends like you. Because in the process, even I get to learn a lot. And
Right.
other than marketing, teaching is also something which I'm really passionate about, Chandan.
Right. Wow. So I think this is something so interesting to know about you. So the thing is, starting from the very beginning, so you are into marketing domain and you love, talking about marketing in the B school itself and also in the organizations, help them grow in a marketing or in a community. So what exactly, how exactly you find that, yes, marketing is the only domain for you. So what made you choose the marketing?
It's a very good question, Chandan. Thank you for asking that. Chandan, just to give you a perspective, I am a graduate in the field of mass communication, if you see. I
Yes.
did my bachelor's in mass media and specialized in journalism and communication.
Okay.
The reason why journalism excited me was because it's all about interacting people, understanding their issues, understanding their opinions about various contemporary issues, right? So that is where I developed this knack of interacting with people, right? That is when I understood that I'm good at interacting with people. I'm good at, moreover, listening to them, moreover, understanding what their perspective is, right? And I tried my level best to harness this quality, which is of interacting with people, moreover, listening to them and understanding the crux of the argument which they're trying to make, right? So the journey started from there. That is one of the key strengths which I developed and harnessed over a period of time, and
Okay.
that did wonders for me as far as marketing is concerned. During my first semester, I realized that, okay, I need to leverage my communication skills, coupled with the fact that I am someone who is very interested in market research,
Okay.
right? So if you give me a problem statement, I will go to X number of respondents in order to understand and build a hypothesis, try my level best to validate it. So I
Right.
started taking interest in that, leverage my communication skills, and that's when I understood that this is the core of marketing. This
Right.
is the crux of it, right? This is the most important aspects or the fundamentals of marketing, which is consumer research and consumer behavior. I
Right.
started focusing more on this. I started harnessing this particular skill set. And trust me, it did wonders for me when I started attending dipsticks or one-on-one consumer emotion studies at McIntyre Consumer Products and Barley Products. It did
Right.
wonders for me. So that is something which I realized. It came from within. I harnessed it to the best of my abilities, and that is when I decided to choose marketing as my specialization.
So wonderful. So the thing is, while you're speaking, so I just got some, confusion in my mind regarding the marketing research. So you are, having a good hand in market research, and this work fascinates you. So having a statement, a desired problem statement, so you get to have solutions to those through a process of marketing research. So we want to understand what exactly do you mean by marketing research, and how do you, there must be definitely indefinite ways of market research, of handling a market research. So what is the, most efficient way for doing a market research in your perspective?
Sure. Once again, a very relevant question which you've asked, Chandan. Now, first and foremost, let us understand why research is important. First and foremost, one very simple thing which I would like to put across to all my fellow marketeers, friends, students: never ever take research as the final picture. It is not the end result. Research is always directional. Research will always help you arrive at a this. I will help you take a decision, right, which could have strategic implications. So that is the first point. Never ever take research. Never ever consider it sacrosanct or the end result, right? It is an attempt to validate a hypothesis, just to give you a direction so that you can take the right decision. Correct. So that's the first thing.
Okay.
The second thing is that market research will basically help you unearth something known as consumer insights, not consumer observation, right? Many a time, what happens is, and this is a mistake or an area of improvement even for fellow marketeers like us, what you see in front of you at times may not be an insight but an observation. the,
Right.
the way you can unearth an insight is by simply laddering it, or by simply asking the question why, until and unless you arrive at the tension or the trigger. The moment you arrive at the motivation or the tension, that's when you have unearthed the insight. So
Right.
that is an area of improvement for all of us, because this happens many a time. As I said, what you see in front of you may just be an observation, right?
All right.
You need to deep dive further. You need to ladder it to an extent that the insight gets pulled out. So that is step two. Step three is, once the insight is pulled out, right, it is imperative for any marketeer to test it, to further or rather convert that insight into a relevant offering,
All
right?
right.
And moreover, that offering needs to be differentiated and salient. That is when you will be in a position to build equity over a period of time. I can further elaborate this with the help of an example if time permits later. But these are the crucial steps,
Okay.
right? Unearth consumer insights, convert those insights into a relevant offering, make it differentiated and salient in a bit to drive equity. That's very
Right.
important.
So I think this is something so fascinating about your work. So the thing is, market research is something that even I am fond of. So I still remember while I was pursuing my hotel management. So I am from a hotel management background. I did it
Interesting.
from IIM in Delhi. So there we were, I was responsible for conducting a market research in understanding the consumer behavior on the green hotels, on the concept of green hotels. So what outlook do consumers or the guests at hotels do feel about green hotels. So it was, it was a lovely journey. So it happened, the research all over, ended successfully in a lump sum of 5 to 6 months. So I think that was my first, and maybe the last, not last but first, but I didn't attempt any second market research. So I'm sure about it that your approach to market research is something phenomenal, and I think I will adapt. I'll try to use your process of market research into my implications.
Please
So
do.
yes, thank you so much for sharing your insights into the marketing research. So I'm sure about it that every person about like about any work. So let's suppose a market research. So you do a market research for, let's suppose, XYZ problem statement. So you must be, it is like quite impossible that one person or one researcher does not face any challenge. So there must be so many challenges that you must have faced in your life, in your past, in your experiences. So would you like to share some of those, that the challenges that you believe that was the biggest challenge, and the learnings you scraped out of that?
Right. So you do face multiple errors, multiple, see, because let's understand, research is, it's a probability,
Yes.
because it is nothing but extrapolation of data where you have a representative sample, and
Correct.
that sample is representing the larger cohort of your target audience, right? So biases, errors are bound to be there. As I said, it is not the end result, it is always directional. Correct. So one of the biggest concerns which you encounter is the fact, the validity of the claim itself.
Okay.
Right. Now let me give you an example. Say for instance, today if I have commissioned a dipstick among 1,000 respondents in the age group of say 15 to 24, NCCS AB, male, female, or male men, essentially, in order to understand their usage and attitude pertaining to fragrance or deodorant as a category. Now that is where, that is the first area of concern, right?
Okay.
So you have 1,000 respondents, right? And 1,000 respondents, is that sample size enough to get a perspective, and basis that perspective align and recalibrate your marketing strategies in tune with it? That is the first area of concern, because it's just 1,000 respondents, right? We are
Right.
living in a country, right, where more than 60% of the population is in the age group of 15 to 35, right? And we just have 1,000 respondents, because let us accept that research is a costly affair. Whether
Right.
you do a quantitative study or a qualitative study, it's a costly affair, right? So that sample size itself, there is an area of concern, that okay, is this the correct sample size, or do I need to increase it, right? Of course, there are multiple techniques which you make use of in order to ensure that biases do not rise, and the results are as intact as possible without any deviation. So you can expect a standard deviation of say 3 to 5%, but not more than that, right? So that
Right.
is the first concern. The second concern is the claims which the respondent is making, right? So many a time you would find that when a respondent is being interviewed, they would agree with you just because you are politically correct, right?
Okay.
However, the scenario may be really very different, right? So the authenticity of the claim which the respondent is making, it is very difficult to establish the fact that it is genuine. It is very difficult to do that, right? At towards the end of the day, the skill sets of the moderator play a very significant role in terms of gauging that authenticity of the claim which the respondent is making. And I have faced this multiple times, right? The respondent would say that okay, the respondent belongs to NCCSA, but the moment you enter his or her household, you would feel that this does not look NCCSA from any angle,
Right.
right? So is the respondent putting across a false claim in front of you just because he or she wants to be politically correct? So that is the second
Right.
area of concern,
Okay.
where authenticating or establishing the fact that yes, the claim which the respondent is making, that is correct, that becomes an area of concern and a challenge, right? So I guess these two are the biggest challenges which we face,
Right.
right? It all depends on how experienced the research agency is, how experienced the moderator is, in order to ensure that the deviations or errors are minimal in nature to get the exact picture.
Right. I think this is so, insightful in letting know about the challenges that you face about a person who, conducts a market research. So the thing is, you get to encounter these two challenges, let's suppose. So what are your learnings, how to deal, how you particularly deal with such challenges? So how do you deal in, checking or mandating, on a proper check on this authenticity path?
So exactly. So that was the same point which I was trying to arrive at. Now it becomes important for you to ensure that the research agency whom you've onboarded, right, that research agency has thoroughly done a complete due diligence of that particular respondent in order to understand every aspect related to it.
Right.
It just should not be the fact that okay, you incentivize a particular respondent in order to take part in a particular study, and that's it. You need to do certain background checks as well, which is why the importance of a recruitment questionnaire becomes really very important. So on one hand you have a recruitment questionnaire, on the other hand you have your regular questionnaire, right?
Right.
So the importance of recruitment questionnaire is gets accentuated further, because that is where you authenticate the respondent's background and whether he or she
Right.
is making the right claim, right?
Makes
So roping in the right research agency, that is the most crucial task to conduct these background checks so that these errors do not arise. Now
right.
that is how you can mitigate the situation.
Right. So while you speaking, like we heard about, consumer dipsticks by you. So can you, enlighten more about the term consumer dipstick?
It's just a term. you know it's just a term, Chandan.
Okay.
There you have consumer emotions, consumer dipsticks,
Okay.
in-depth interviews, so on and so forth, but the ultimate purpose is very simple.
All
The
right.
ultimate purpose is to just understand why you buy, what is the reason behind buying a particular brand. So
Okay.
today, if I am buying, say for instance, a Vaseline, right, what
Yes.
is the motivation? I won't simply just look at the fact that okay, great fragrance, it retains for a longer duration as compared to other brands. No, that is, I said, it's just the observation, right? In order to probe further or understand why, I need to keep asking until unless I arrive at the motivation. Right?
Right.
That is market research in simple words.
Right.
You understand the motivation of the consumer, you understand the tension. Once you understand that tension, that is your consumer insight.
So I think market research is, as the, first and the foremost step for leading any business.
Sure.
So post marketing research, like we did a market research, so we are having the insights about the society, about the society wherein our products and service going to launch in. So once we get the data about the consumers behavior and everything, so then post manufacturing the particular product, so the third, the second or third, most probably the third aspect of any, product launch will be the brand positioning.
Sure.
So how do we, position the brand in the society or in the culture? So do you want to, what's your opinion in that aspect?
Right. So I'm glad that you touched upon positioning, because once your product is out in the market, right, it becomes imperative for that particular brand now. Earlier it was a product, now it's a brand. It
Right.
becomes imperative for that particular brand to occupy a distinct space in the mind of the consumer, which is nothing but positioning, right? How
Right.
should one go about this? As per me, the positioning should encapsulate the product's functional and emotional benefits. The benefit story needs to come out clearly in just 3 to 4 words, which is the brand's positioning statement. Let me give you an example, and this is one of my favorites,
Please,
right?
please.
If you look at one of the brands which I worked on, that was Wildstone. Wildstone had a clear-cut positioning, which was "log to notice karenge." Now what does this positioning statement say? It simply says that if you carry a good fragrance, if you smell good, people will automatically notice you. The
Right.
moment they notice you, of course, you will feel good about yourself. Of course, you're feeling really good about yourself by virtue of the fragrance which you're carrying. You feel really confident. But when
Right.
somebody notices you, right, you feel more good about it, right? The self-love gets accentuated to a different level altogether, right?
Right.
So log to notice karenge. One simple line which encapsulates the brand's functional benefit and emotional benefit. And that is what positioning is. it should encapsulate both these benefits, should put this across in a very crisp manner to the consumer, right? So that the consumer starts relating to it. Another
Right.
tagline which I can recall at the moment is, Tata Sky. I know it's Tata Play right now, but the whole campaign revolving around Hrithik Roshan. Isko laga dala to life jingle alag. That means your life is full of entertainment the moment you get a Tata Sky connection installed, right?
Right.
So it needs to be catchy, and at the same time, it needs to convey the brand's functional and emotional benefits. That's when you can have a good positioning statement.
I think that are the essential parts of conducting this whole process. So, like, in order to compete in this competitive environment, I think you are absolutely right. So, there's having a proper procedure in leading. There must be definitely SOPs in how to deal with all of these aspects. So, I'm
So,
sure about it that one leading into this segment of brand positioning must help the company, the brand, the product, the employees, the society to have the best experiences,
true,
right?
true.
So like what, like one another thing that I was wondering in this entire like right now in the modern era, so we are dealing with the internet marketing sort of.
So,
So do the brands do really place the offline marketing? So that was a prominent marketing in the earlier days. So do the brands also focuses on the offline marketing right now or not?
of course, of course. I mean, if you look at the entire FMCG as a category, it's a
Right.
category which is valued at 350,000 crore, right? And it has different channels.
Right.
99, close to 95% contribution is coming in from general trade, which is your typical brick and mortar stores or your traditional trade, right? The remaining 2 to 3% would be modern trade, and the rest is probably D2C or marketplaces, right?
Okay.
So traditional trade is something which will always exist, right? Of course, D2C has really started coming up, and that is the future. I do agree with you. Direct to consumer channel and online marketplaces, that is the future. However, the importance of traditional trade, that can never be eliminated. That will always be there, because what it gives you is sheer reach. Of course, D2C gives you quick accessibility, but at the same time, what traditional trade gives you is sheer reach. If you want to penetrate the interiors of a state like Arunachal Pradesh or some areas in the state of Bihar or the hinterlands, essentially, you have to focus on general trade. Of course, there are multiple layers as far as supply chain is concerned, right?
Right.
From your CFA, distributor, wholesaler, substockist, so on and so forth, in order to reach that end consumer. But you need to do that because, as I said, it gives you sheer reach. And
Right.
if you want to drive penetration for your brand across households, and if you want to drive numeric distribution as well across stores, you need to focus on general trade. Therefore, it is still, as per me, one of the most important channels. It will always be the most important channel. However, the importance of other channels, and specifically direct to consumer, that cannot be eliminated, right? Of course, it's growing, but general trade will always be there. I started my journey in general trade as a
Okay.
salesperson, right? So I know what it takes, I know how difficult it is, and
Right.
it is really important for any business to thrive.
Right. So I think they must be having some, like old fashioned and, most prominent in the terms of, uniqueness, the challenges. So they
So,
must be having so much challenges. You are on feet doing marketing, and, the companies must spend a lot of amount in having the offline marketing too. So I think you are absolutely right in your terms. So the thing is, right now in this online marketing, in this internet marketing world, still companies do are dependent on the offline marketing. So
that's
like,
true.
yeah, so like let's suppose FMCG or even the banking sector, so these like any industry that prevails in the society are not only dependent on the online marketing. So this is for the audience who are currently seeing this video, so let them know that no, it is not like there is always a boom in the digital marketing era. So
True.
while I think 4 to 5 years ago, when I just passed my 12th, or I probably would be in the first year of my grad days. So there was my friend and who left his studies and altogether went into digital marketing kind of thing. So I was like, what is digital marketing? Yeah. So it was like at that time when digital marketing was not the term that we heard. So
Right,
I think
right.
it's definitely offline marketing plays a significant role in the society and in the betterment of the organizations. Well,
That's
coming
true.
forward with, like we covered the marketing research part. Then second part was the product launch. The third part was the brand positioning. And then once the brand is positioned and the products and the services are being traded between in the society, so the fourth aspect will come forward with the product marketing. So how do you identify the most effective way of marketing in either online platform and offline platform?
Sure, Chandan. But I would like to do some course correction over there.
Please, please, please.
Marketing, if you were to ask me,
Yes.
marketing is not advertising.
Right.
Marketing is not, coming up with a brilliant piece of communication and simply putting it up on television. That is not marketing.
Not marketing.
That's marketing communication, which is a part of it
Right.
and really important, right? So when somebody asks me that, Chetan, how do you go about marketing this product? I would say that, okay, let's rephrase the question. Let's rather say that if you were to develop or create an integrated marketing communication campaign, how would you go about it? See, because for me and for all of us, marketing is all about identifying consumer needs, right? Making use of those needs in order to create a profitable offering, right? And making it relevant to the consumer, as simple as that. That is marketing.
Right.
Marketing communication is a part of it, right? Now, how do I decide what mediums and media vehicles to leverage as part of my integrated marketing communication campaign, right? I take that call basis my brand's target audience. My target group plays a very significant role, right? When it comes to choosing the right mediums and media vehicles, that's the first step. And the second step is the kind of budgets which I have, right? So at Parley, of course, budgets were never a concern because that was the kind of business we used to churn out, right? So in any FMCG organization or any established FMCG organization, if you
Right.
have a budget of say 100 rupees, is just from the point of giving you budgetary allocations. If you have 100 rupees as your budget, any FMCG organization will spend close to 60 to 70%, that means 70 rupees on television. And the reason why it spends almost 70% of its budget on TV is by virtue of the sheer reach which you get. Television, the size
Right.
of television universe in India, it is roughly around 850 million. That means 85 crore individuals watch television as compared to any other medium. So, in terms of reach and penetration, it is the maximum. Therefore, one
Okay.
needs to be on television specifically for established FMCG organizations.
Right.
So, television would be first in terms of priority, followed by, I would say, digital, and then print to some extent, then outdoor. This is for an established organization. For organizations where budgets are a concern, which are still growing, if you look at a typical product life cycle, then the best way to get maximum return on investment is actually digital.
Right.
You leverage performance marketing. You leverage performance marketing in such a way that it gives you maximum returns, be it in terms of visibility or business, right? So digital plays a very significant role for those organizations which are looking for quick results, which are looking for quick return on investment,
Right.
and those who are willing to target a specific target audience in a bid to make their product more relevant and salient, right? However, for established or those organizations where budgets are not a concern and who want to go all out in order to reach out to your consumers, television does become the most important medium, followed by digital, print, and outdoor. Right? That is how I would prioritize it.
I think, in my understanding, this is quite so much insightful. Like whatever you're letting us know about, brand positioning and moreover to brand marketing. Like marketing is not just a perspective of advertising your product or service. So this is something that is not so common in the understandings of the consumers, or in the understanding of the candidates who are interested to be a marketeer one day. So I think you have cleared most of the doubts of the current viewers of this video, and I'm sure this video must be so much helpful in any domain. If the students or if any working professional is finding this particular video insightful, so do hit on this particular video and subscribe this YouTube channel. I think moving forward with Chetan, so I think we would love to, while I was young, so while I was a child,
You still are. What do you mean?
that was, dil pe laga.
Still are, Chandan. ऐसे तो फिर आप मुझे बोलोगे कि मैं तो I'm 29 man. You would say that,
Like
okay.
to precise this, so while like 10 years ago, so I was so things were letting me know that television is an idiot box. So while I get raised myself, so the thing is I was kept knowing that TV is an idiot box, to stay out of it, focus on your books, focus on your studies and all that. But it is not as it is being taught to the child. So the thing is, television is one of the prominent source of advertising for the companies. So I
Sure.
think this is one of the one of the unique thing that we got to know from you, Chetan. So moving forward, like we want to, we have heard about marketing campaigns. So this is so, so one of the hyped term about marketing campaigns. So once a particular student gets to hear about marketing campaigns, so most of the confusions are keep rolling in the mind. What exactly the marketing campaign? How much companies do spend on marketing campaigns? What are the possible mission and the mission statement and the vision statement for this marketing campaign? So we would love to know. We would love to hear about your experience in your in any marketing campaigns that you believe was the biggest success for you.
There have been multiple actually, but one of the most successful campaigns for us was actually at McEnroe Consumer Products,
All right.
which was when we decided to launch Kunal as part of Wildstone Log To Notice Karenge. That was one of the most successful campaigns for the
I
brand.
think
It did
true.
wonders for us, right? And there were memes being circulated around Kunal, right? And
Right,
Kunal became
right,
a household name. It is actually a household name, and we specifically
right.
chose that name in order to drive relevance. So that was one of the most successful campaigns, and I did get the opportunity to work on that campaign because as I said, the ultimate objective for the brand was to occupy a primary driver within the category from the point of view of imagery. So every category has a set of imagery drivers which are divided into primary, secondary, and tertiary. In case of Wildstone, initially way back in 2016, Wildstone actually occupied a tertiary parameter which was attracting the opposite gender. However, that was a tertiary parameter. That means that was not relevant for the consumer when it came to making or when it came to buying a particular product, right? So that is where we realize that it becomes necessary for the brand to occupy a primary driver within the category, which was in terms of fragrance. And that is when we decided, with the help of multiple consumer dipsticks, FGDs, UNA studies, that it's better if we focus on the functional benefits associated to fragrance, because Wildstone perfumes and deodorants, they are excellent as far as fragrance is concerned. So why not leverage that? We rolled out the creative brief to our agency, which was Sideways, who is Mr. Abhijit Avasthi, ex Ogilvy, a fantastic person to work with. We rolled it out to him, and he came up with a brilliant proposition by stating that, hey, if you carry a good fragrance, people will notice you. And that is how we created an entire story around it. So that is one of the finest and one of the best campaigns which I had worked on, with a fantastic insight, and it did wonders for the brand, both in terms of qualitative results, in terms of brand equity and brand health score, and even in terms of business objectives. Be it in terms of market share, it did really well for the brand.
Like I totally agree on this. So I think I'm sure about it. The viewers of this video must do agree with Chetan right now. So the thing is, my personal opinion, I just want to let it know to the public and you, Chetan, as well. So the thing is, while like this, like this particular advertisement and while this particular marketing campaign have led a thought in me that we are afraid of Kunal. While we are with our girl or while we are with our wives or anything. So the thing is, Kunal is something that is everyone,
Yeah.
most of us are afraid of.
So Chandan, tomorrow if you go out on a date, if you're with your girl at house cars, and all of a sudden somebody the name of Kunal pops up, you know what to do, right?
Right.
You know what to
Well,
do.
well said. I think you're absolutely right in this case, because marketing campaign, like these marketing campaigns play a huge role in the consumers aspects also. I am sure about the organizational part, but also the consumer minds. So I think this is one of the biggest success for you, and I wish you more luck in your future marketing campaigns that you
Thank
will
you.
lead probably.
Thank you
So
so much, Amit.
right. So coming forward with, like, I'm sure about it that, like, there is a consumer mentality, that consumer is never never feel self sufficient. So in your aspect, are you self sufficient in your aspects, like in your professional life? So are you self sufficient, or there is something that there is a eager to win, or there is a eager to achieve some new things? So what is it exactly?
I would say that I am still a learner. I am
Okay.
still a student, and
Okay.
I'll always be a student. Learning is something which lasts forever, right? Am I self sufficient? I'm not. If I
Okay.
were to rate myself on a scale of 10 in terms of how good am I as far as marketing is concerned, I would not go beyond 5, because I would want to leave a significant scope for me to improve. So I am not self sufficient. There is still this immense eagerness to learn more across categories, to understand different kinds of consumers across different spectrums, across different spheres, across different product categories. I still want to understand that. So far, I have limited myself only to food and personal care, but you never know. Tomorrow, I might want to understand how does a consumer, or when it comes to consuming content on OTT, right? What are the likes and preferences of a consumer? I would
Right.
want to understand that as well. So my eagerness is to mainly understand consumers across different categories, because that will help me unearth white spaces or opportunity areas which I can address by launching something really relevant, and I can add value in their lives, right?
Right.
So that is the eagerness, that is the motivation, that is where the excitement lies, and it will exist forever. As I said, I am not self sufficient, I'll never be, because this eagerness will always exist.
I think that's true, and that's quite so like an answer to a goosebumps itself. So I think this quality should be into in everyone, in every person. So I think self sufficiency is also one of the good thing, but in terms of profession and in terms of career, I think it is better to be self insufficient.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So like I just want to let this audience of this particular video to know about Chetan. So I would just want to mention few of the key strengths of Chetan. So Chetan is like well equipped with the brand building part, the promotions and media planning, the marketing plans, marketing campaigns. He's also good at a new product launch, new product development, consumer dipsticks, as he told, marketing research, as we initially talked in this particular video, and he is also having a good hand in the sales and distribution management. So I think with this aspect, like the skills, the strengths that you have acquired till now, so how what what is the one stop solution, if you want, if you like, let's suppose you want to give this particular one stop solution to the people who are listening to you right now. So what is the one stop solution to acquire all of these skills or all of these strengths?
First and foremost, Chandan, I must really appreciate that you've gone through my LinkedIn profile really very well. Right? You've gone
My
through it
pleasure.
thoroughly. You've gone through it thoroughly. You have left no stone unturned in order to pull out as many keywords as possible. So I truly appreciate the effort, and thank you very much for encapsulating it in such a beautiful way. Right? See, understanding or developing these skill sets, I have just spent 7 years, and there is a lot to learn. I wouldn't say that I excel at each one of these. I'm in the process of still learning each one of these, right? Yes, if I compare myself to somebody who has just begun, of course I know something about it. I don't know everything, but I know something about it, and that is where I will be able to value add, right? So nobody can learn this at one time. Nobody can learn this at one go, right? You need to keep putting in efforts. You need experience. You need practical assignments, You need practical exposure in order to be well versed and in order to be acquainted with these or harness and develop these skill sets. And it happens over a period of time. One simple piece of advice which I would like to give to all my friends, students, fellow marketeers is never ever stop learning. Never. Of course, do what you love, right? But
Right.
never ever stop learning. Always have that eagerness and motivation that, okay, how does this happen? I would want to know more about this. So you do your secondary research in order to probe that further. That is the first thing. The second thing is never ever get carried away by designations and glorified organizations and big names. Always see whether your skill sets are complementing the job responsibilities entailed in a particular job description. If yes, then go for it. But do not get carried away by designations
Right.
just because they appear glamorous. Say, for instance, brand manager,
Right.
really glamorous, and it's the most, it's the most chosen and the most, I would say, one of the most popular designations. But it's a designation, it's a role, right? But it's better to understand what does it entail first rather than simply going behind the designation and saying that I want to be a brand manager. No, first understand the responsibilities and then see if your skill sets can help you achieve that, or are your skill sets in tandem with those responsibilities, and then take a decision. Do not get carried away by designations and big names. Understand your skill sets first and then leverage it and choose the right profession.
Right. I think you have, you have already made this session quite insightful. And considering the fact that you have told me about your, your further projects that you are leading on to. So considering the time fact, so we'll keep this session a little bit short. And, like I'm really, inspired by you quite kinda. So the thing is, I think this journey and this, the learning capabilities and the eagerness to learn will be one quality I think everyone should adapt.
That's
So well, be it any books, be it any course, be it any blog, be it any peer-to-peer learning, experiential learning. So it is like you just remain calm and down to earth and like open your ears throughout. So I think you're very well said, because this is the only and only way to upskill and climb your career ladder.
of
Well,
course, of course.
like so, I would, last but not the least. So the thing is, we would love to know top, according to you, top three qualities in a brand manager that he or she supposed to have.
Okay. It seems as if the job profile of a brand manager is really very glorified and very glamorous. It's not. It's just not. Uh,
Okay.
but anyway, since you're asking, so first and foremost is, please understand, the buck stops at your end, right? You are the brand's custodian, right? It's your baby. You have to nurture it. You have to grow it. Therefore, you are the one who's accountable for everything.
Right.
Hence, I said the buck stops at your end. So, first point is stakeholder management, both internal and external. This stakeholder management becomes really important and rather the most important, I would say, responsibility of any brand manager. You have to interact with an array of stakeholders, right? That's the first point, which is stakeholder management. The second,
Okay.
as for me, actually, the first point, it actually encapsulates everything, right? But still, if I were to further bifurcate it, the second point, as per me, would be that focus more on execution than strategy.
Okay.
Strategy is just 30%. However, you just cannot limit yourself or limit that strategy on PowerPoint presentations.
All
You
right.
have to implement it. In a bid to implement it, strategy, in a bid to implement any strategy, execution becomes paramount. So you have to
Right.
also execute it, right? So I would say focus more on execution, focus more on planning your processes or planning your different stages of launch or developing a product in such a way that you're able to hit the market as per stipulated timelines, so the timelines which you've laid down, right? So that would be the second thing. And
Okay.
the third thing would be that never ever fail. Even if you fail, right, always have the strength to bounce back. And I would rather say, if you do not fail, you'll never be able to learn. I have made mistakes over the course of last 7 years, but these mistakes have taught me a lot. Many a time I have made a mistake in terms of gauging the right consumer insight, right? And somewhere down the line, as a result of that, the brand does not work, right? So I have made these mistakes, but then these mistakes have played a very significant role in terms of further helping me get better at marketing, right? And specifically consumer behavior. So never ever shy away from taking tough decisions. If you fail, it's absolutely fine. It's necessary to bounce back, right? So I guess these three would be the most important, qualities which an individual needs to develop in order to excel in the field of brand management. Stakeholder management, that's the first one. The second one would be focused more on execution than
Right.
strategy. And the third would be that never be scared of failure, right? Bounce back, come back harder, and come back in a way that you're in a position to nail it, right? So come back harder. That is how I would like to put it.
I think you have, very well said it and very well framed it. So the thing is, your answer to this particular question was phenomenal, and is going to be, impacting on the students, on the viewers of this particular video so much that I'm sure about this. Post this podcast, few of the students or few of the viewers of this video must have benefited in their career lives. I'm sure
I'm
about it.
sure they
So,
will.
well,
I'm sure.
thank you so much for getting on board with us with Grow Junction. I think this session was quite insightful because we covered all the aspects about the product, about the idea of the product, the ideation part, to the exactly marketing campaigns. So I think we have led all the parameters and all the things. So I think from the bottom of my heart, I would like to, appreciate you for being on the stage of honor with all of us.
Thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure, Chandra. And trust me, you're a great host. You do wonders. So please love your energy and enthusiasm. So please keep up the great work. And thank you once again for giving me this
Thank you so
platform.
much for your kind
Appreciate
words.
it.